Well, hello, I'm Janet Morena, the Executive Director of Priests for Life. Welcome to our program. And of course, in a lot of parts of the country, they have already gone back to school. And of course, some in the Northeast after Labor Day weekend, they charge back to school. And what does that mean? Well, the parish engines begin to, start up again. Many parishes, some of the extra activities during the summer, they kind of slow down. Everyone takes a vacation. I know at my parish they stopped doing the sweet treats and the donuts in the summer, and come after Labor Day weekend, that kicks back up again. So we're going to talk a little bit today about getting back involved in pro-life and what things are coming up and what we should be looking forward to. Well, joining me today is a great friend of Priests for Life, one of our pastoral associates, Father David Begany. Father, welcome to the
Good to be
program.
with you again, Janet.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
Well, of course, when I think of September, before I get into pro-life activities, I always think of September the 8th, which is our Blessed Mother's birthday.
Right.
And I always find that unless you really have a devotion to Our Lady, a lot of people skip over it, don't they? They're not aware, are they?
Oh, yeah, I would say probably even we priests are unaware of that. Yeah. So, but I agree. It's something we should remember and honor the Blessed Mother on her birthday.
That's right. And of course, her parents were Saint Joachim and Anne, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their feast day, I think, is like the end of June, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, maybe a little earlier.
Maybe a little earlier, but something like that. And for our Blessed Mother, I mean, this is like when you talk about Marian feast days, people focus more in October.
Right.
Our Lady of the Rosary, Our Lady of Fatima,
right.
Our Lady, like all those things.
Right.
And they kind of forget her birthday. Well, come on, guys. I mean, when you think about her birthday, I mean, she was born without original sin on her soul. So God selected her from the moment of her conception. God had the plan. He knew the plan.
Yeah.
She still had to say yes. Right. But when you think about it, her birthday's pretty unique because she technically didn't have to be baptized because she didn't have to have original sin taken away.
That's right. Right. So she was the only one that, we would say that was born without the stain of original sin on her soul by a favor of God in anticipation of what her son would win on the cross. Right. And she was given that. So we often say in theology, it is fitting that she be born without that because she was carrying in her womb the most perfect man and God, of course, God, Jesus Christ. So it's fitting that his mother be a pure vessel, we would say.
Well, it's like her womb was going to be the tabernacle for Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And you want it, to be as holy as possible. And so again, so God gave her that grace ahead of time to be without that. She did not commit any sin in her life, not a venial sin, certainly not a mortal sin.
Wow. And so everybody, I hope on September the 8th, say special prayers that day to Our Lady.
Right.
And maybe make sure you say the rosary that day, the prayer she taught us to say, and I bet you get a little extra special grace to our Blessed Mother, right?
I think so. Especially, you're honoring her on her birthday, and certainly we want to try to do that with devotion if we can, have that sense of devotion in our hearts. And I think that's a very good thing to do, to pray the rosary. So I'm going to be doing that.
Yay. And then, of course, the very next day, September the 9th, we have a special Remembrance Day. It's always the second Saturday in September, and it's a day of remembrance for the aborted children.
Yes.
Right. And people don't realize, but there are aborted babies buried in locations all over the United States, right?
That's correct. Yeah. It's, tragically, children who are aborted are oftentimes just discarded, right, in dumpsters and things.
They're thrown as medical waste and garbage, yes. But some were retrieved, like you're saying, out of dumpsters. They were found.
Right.
And good pro-lifers say, whoa, we have to give these babies proper burial. I mean, there's some places like out in Los Angeles is one, Chicago and some others. Thousands of babies are in one burial location.
Right.
And everyone followed that Herman Gosnell case, and the Gosnell babies were also buried in a cemetery in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Terrific.
And so there's a special website they can go to called rememberabortedchildren.org. And up there, there's special prayers that you can say on that day.
Okay.
And there's a little map where you can find these locations where these aborted children are buried.
Right.
And then The other thing too, Father, even if in your area there's no cemetery or location where these children
Mm,
are, a lot of the Knights of Columbus councils and other churches have like a tombstone or a
mhm.
memorial stone
Right,
for
right.
the aborted children, right?
Right, right, and I think you're right. It's good. I think we had talked earlier, and you had said that maybe the Knights will have some of these celebrations or day places where they can honor the children who've been aborted and buried, and so certainly people are welcome to look for those places where they'll hold those and join those celebrations. I'm going to try to locate one in my home area of Houston, Texas,
Right.
and I'd be happy to attend one of those ceremonies to
Right.
remember. It's kind of like Veterans Day. We remember those who have died. Of course, in this case, they were killed and they didn't have that freedom to, like in military service, to enter, but they've been killed, and it's good to remember them, like you said.
Right. And I know from the women of Silent No More who have had abortions, come
Hmm.
through healing, and now regret their abortion, many of them go to these sites because
Okay.
they don't know where their babies are.
Yeah.
They didn't have
Yes.
that opportunity. And
Right.
a lot of them have told me that, well, Janet, when we go to that service and other people are praying where other babies are buried,
Hmm.
we feel that
Mm,
that's helping remember our child too.
mm, mm.
And actually, in some locations, Father, they find notes left by women who've
Oh.
had abortions,
Okay.
and they'll write a
Mm,
note to their baby, and they'll
okay.
leave it there.
I see.
So it could be a great location, really, for some extra healing to happen
Yeah, I'm just
too.
going to say, it almost sounds like this helps them with their grieving for the
Yeah.
child they've aborted. And some people think, oh, you just have to forget about that. You had an abortion. Okay, God forgives you. Forget about it. But we say, well, no, it's okay to remember. It's even a
Right.
good thing. It's a healthy thing to do.
Right. It is. So again, remember abortedchildren.org is where to go, and all the information about how to have a remembrance at a location, where the locations are. So
Hmm.
I hope more people get involved this year.
I hope so too. I think the more we advertise it, the
Right.
more encourage people, the more will attend.
That's right. And of course, the first Sunday in October
Hmm.
is what we call Life Change Sunday.
Mm.
And that started many decades ago.
Yeah.
Actually, a gentleman in California, Royce Dunn,
Hmm.
he came up with the idea. And the signs he developed were abortion kills children, and the other, adoption, the loving option. And then the third sign, actually, Father Frank and I had something to do with the third sign. All the way back when Father was my parish priest, we wrote a letter to him suggesting abortion hurts women.
Mm.
All the way back then in the
Wow.
90s, early 90s. And he adopted that sign too. So those are the three major signs. But some people even contact us at Priest for Life to get our Silent No More signs, because we have
Okay.
the ones that say women do regret abortion,
Right.
and on
Right.
the other side it says men regret lost fatherhood.
Right.
And so now's the time. I mean, you're a pastor also in Houston,
Right.
and now is the time really for the pro-lifers out there to approach your pastor to ask about having a life chain. But don't, Father, just don't dump it in the pastor's lap, right?
Right. Yeah. I think we pastors, we're generally supportive of things like this, but we really need you to do all the legwork and get it set up. It will certainly show up. We'll promote it at church, but in terms of organizing people, choosing a site, we really rely on the laity to do that. So I like you said, I'd encourage anyone who wants to start one, to get it going, and then just go to your pastor if you want to support and say, we'll do the work. You just promote it at church, or maybe even attend it yourself, and that's good for publicity too.
That's right. And of course, it happens in different ways. A lot of places, they'll do it outside their church.
Yes.
If their church is on a busy roadway.
Right.
Like I
Right.
know my parish here in Merritt Island, Florida, we're on this North Courtney Parkway, which is bustling with traffic. And we had, actually, it was last year was the first year my parish had Life Chain. They
Hmm.
hadn't done it before. So
Okay.
a few of us that work at Priest for Life, that's our parish. So we kind of fan the
Okay.
flames
Good. Good.
to get it going. We helped get them the signs, and
Good.
and it was great.
Yeah.
So, but then the pastor said to us, "Well, we have that evangelical church like a block away, and then we have another church that's about 6 blocks away.
Mm.
So, what we're going to do this year, we're going to do a special outreach to all the churches
Mm.
on North Courtney Parkway
Okay.
and see if they want to join us." And we're thinking, imagine if we could get enough people to stretch all the way from this church to this church to that church. That would be amazing, right?
Yeah, that's very possible, right? Because in the life chain, usually you space yourself out, maybe a block or something, and it's quite a kind of has quite a visual effect. So I hope you do that. I hope
Yeah.
you're successful.
And it's very peaceful activity. I want
Yes,
everyone to
yes,
understand.
yes.
You stand there and you hold your sign for about an hour. That's all it is, an hour. And you're praying quietly, silently, and the cars are going by. Sometimes people are walking by. And of course, you get plenty of thumbs up and
Right.
positive horn beeping.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you do get some people cursing at you too, unfortunately, right?
Right. So the life chain. Can you tell us again what type of signs we have? I know you introduced a couple of them, but
Yeah.
from what I remember when I did it, it was different pictures of different stages of fetal development.
Right.
But then also, I think pictures of aborted children. Is that part of it?
Well, see, with Life Chain itself,
Yeah.
all those other signs are not part of the original Life
Oh,
Chain
okay.
thing. The people who started Life Chain, it was those three first signs.
Okay.
Abortion kills children, adoption a loving option, and then abortion hurts women.
Okay.
Those are their sponsored signs that you
Gotcha.
can contact Life Chain and buy and order
Okay.
signs.
Okay.
But they've also accepted the signs of the Silent No More campaign.
Okay.
They usually don't encourage the signs of the victims of abortion
Yeah, I see.
at that event because they don't want to detract from the whole focus on we're remembering the children that are in danger of abortion right now.
I see. Okay.
But you had a nice experience, Father. You told me you participated many years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said it was almost like a real deep spiritual.
Yeah, it
So
was.
tell us.
Right. So this is when I was a member of the Missionaries of the Gospel of Life, which was a religious order started by Frank Pavone, and we were in near Amarillo, Texas, and I participated in a life chain. And one of the things I read on the back of the sign was, "Do not respond to people who yell at you, who curse at you. Instead, say prayers." And so as I began reading these prayers on the back of this card, I had this overwhelming sense of peace, but then a sense of unity with every other person who was holding a sign. It was like I said, it's one of those times that I remember, definitely as being a profound spiritual experience of unity with all of the members who were there, presumably Christian. And it was a sense that remained with me for several hours, this tremendous sense of unity. So I would encourage anyone who's going, if you want to do something prayerful and draw close to God and be united with your brothers and sisters in Christ, or even if you're not a Christian, be united with others, I encourage them to attend and to, again, as you said, be peaceful, prayerful. Do not respond in any type of negative fashion to those who might respond to you. Right. And I'm confident you're going to have that, maybe not the exact experience I had, but certainly you're going to experience unity with others who are dedicated to the same, remembering and trying to prevent the killing of the unborn.
That's right. And it really does raise awareness in your own community. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it encourages people too, because if you see that many people standing holding pro-life signs, you feel like, oh, there's a lot of pro-life people here in my area.
Exactly.
It's kind of like in numbers, you feel like, oh, I don't feel so alone then.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I think, the other side, they're very good at dominating the conversation and kind of trying to shut you down.
Right.
And so Life Chain Sunday is a way of kind of showing, hey, there's more of us out there than you think who are pro-life and not afraid to show so.
Right. No, I agree. I think it's a great idea to realize you're not there by yourself. You have many other people who think the same way. Not everyone will be willing or able, to go out and stand on the street, on the curb, but I think it's a great way to to find that others are like you, and maybe even to join some of their organizations.
Right. And I want people to realize too, it's perfect legal activity.
Yes,
you have a right to stand there,
right,
and hold a sign, and as long as you're not blocking the sidewalk, you can stand. Like in my parish, we had everyone just stand to the back of the sidewalk so that people who walk in front of you.
I see.
And clearly, have a path down the sidewalk.
Okay.
As long as you're doing that,
Right.
Perfectly legal
Yeah.
activity,
Yeah.
and they cannot stop you because of the content of your message.
Right. Right.
No, that's part of our First Amendment right,
Right.
to express ourselves. And some parishes, what they do is they'll have either before or after the life chain. The Catholic parishes will do
Mm.
a holy hour.
Oh,
I've seen
okay.
that.
I see.
It's not necessary. You don't have to do that.
Right.
But some do add that on
Hmm.
as an extra activity. Like
Okay.
after you've stood there for an hour, then we go into the church and we do adoration for an hour with benediction and all
Hmm.
that. So, and it's really up to the individual church. And there's one group here, actually in Florida, here in Titusville. They don't do it in front of a church. They do it in front of this busy mall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's another option too.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
if, let's say, your pastor doesn't want you doing it in front of the church, or someone else not here, you have perfectly right to do it really in any public sidewalk or public place. So think about that as another option, right?
Well, exactly. And I think I participated in other life chains, and that's what we've done. We've been on different parts of a particular area, different, and yeah. So they have the option of doing it that way too.
Okay. And again, they could Google Life Change Sunday, and there's plenty of information
Hmm.
out there. And if they go to our prayer campaign page, it's prayercampaign.org, we have lots of prayers there.
Hmm.
And our online store, we have nice little prayer books
Oh,
that we
okay.
can send them. Go
Yeah.
to prolifeproducts.org because sometimes it's nice if you have a little prayer book to be saying different prayers because you're standing there for an hour.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It really is a time of prayer, and I think if we can do that, and that it really will benefit others in listening to the message, seeing it, letting it sink in, and it will help us to
That's
to
right.
do it in a peaceful way.
So a lot of things happening, right here in the
Hmm.
beginning of I call it the parish year and the school year,
Right.
because as you know,
Yes.
well, as a pastor, kind
Yeah.
of in the summer things quiet down.
Yep. Yes.
But now the engines are revving back up
Right.
again.
Right.
And so why not focus in on some good pro-life activities, right?
Right. Exactly.
Well, Father, thank you for joining me for a great discussion.
Good to be with you, Janet.
And brothers and sisters, thank you too for joining us. And it's time for you to, if you haven't done it before, get involved. Start a life chain right in your own community. You can do it. And if you contact us at Priest for Life, we'll send you some of our Silent No More signs to get you started. And remember, brothers and sisters, there are some abortions only you will be able to stop, and some lives only you will be able to save. Join us again next time. Thank you, and God bless.